to do that.
You do a little dance there, Bob. That's what you want to do.
The
Good
little
evening,
intro
everyone.
music.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for dropping in, taking the hilarity that Bob is about to offer here this evening. So we have a few guests here to start with, and Bob Walker, over there. Which way am I pointing here? This way. Bob Walker and Loma Vista Todd at the bottom, and I left the door open, and this guy kind of came in. Mr. Ian Stepler, the man, the myth, the legend. I know you love that intro.
It never gets old.
It never gets old. How did I say that the first time? Ladies and gentlemen, your friend and mine, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Ian Stepler. I rehearsed that in my head for a week before I said that.
So Ian, I saw your video today, and
I might as well just gone. I mean, seriously, my phone's blowing up all day yesterday, all day today, and I'm just wasting my time when I should be working. So I might as well just gone. Maybe next year, but it's sold out now, so I can't just skip the country and go.
Oh, I guarantee if Ian Stepler showed up at the door, somehow there would be the magic, the golden ticket would pop out of the Willy Wonka's bar. And
sorry, Ian, you can't come in. No more tickets. Yeah, I can see that
came in to be at the door. He'd be like, "Sorry, bud."
Sneak you in the back door.
How much cash did you bring with you?
No name tag, no enter.
That's right.
Out.
That's right.
Wow.
Well, I think we all are a little envious of the reports that we're getting back. It looks like a fantastic gathering at Nobby, and there seems to be at Hive Life. There seems to be some stuff going on too, and obviously with two conflicting conventions on the same date, there's going to be some that choose one over the other, and obviously the Nobby has more momentum. It's been going on for a few years, even though it was under a different name. So I think we're all feeling a little bit left out because for one reason or another we didn't go. I had a number of different reasons.
Technically, I'm there.
Technically,
someone got my pass after I had to cancel, so I am there in spirit. Anyway,
you're there in name only.
That's it, name only. But
so it looks like. Do we have anybody here watching or in the chat specifically who is at one of the big bee conventions this weekend? I'd like to speak to people who can kind of give us a rundown of what's going on.
Well, we've got 130 people, and I know there's somebody is watching right now that is sitting there eating their dinner right now, like suckers sitting at home.
Yeah. And we're happy if you're not the person who wants to come on the screen, that's fine. Just put up your hand there in the chat and
Identify yourself.
So Buckhorn Creek is at Nobby. Great. So let us know those poor unfortunates here on the screen who didn't get to go. What are you seeing? What's the scoop? Fill us in.
The
Nature Sweet Bees is there. Are you on, Corey? Nature Sweet. I'll try
to monitor the chat and actually do the production part tonight. That'd
be great, Bob. Thank you for that.
RTX is there. RTX Honeybees. Philip is there.
Phil's there.
See what we really need.
No link yet, but we'll get the link up here in a little bit, Phil. Can you fill us in on some in the chat there? Fill us in on some of the stuff you're seeing, maybe.
Over 3,000 people. Wow.
Oh yeah, so I got some
too, because I'm getting pictures of the conference rooms, and they are packed. These are big rooms, massive. You can't even see the speaker in the front. It's just huge.
Those are the
Standing
type of
room.
rooms you like to speak in, though, right?
Whew. Gee whiz, it just sends shivers down my spine. Like here's
Yeah.
a picture of Bob here, and he's speaking way up there, and there's standing room only in this place.
You can hardly see me from way in the back. Oh, the other Bob.
The other Bob. Yeah, the Bob.
The goat.
There's the guys Charlie and Lee and who's
Oh, I
it?
see.
They're at the Cracker Barrel eating dinner tonight.
Yum. Love Cracker Barrel.
Looks like Ricky
Oh,
Roar.
that place is great.
So they're hanging out tonight. Did you see I made national, well, I guess it's national television. That's what Stuffy's saying.
Sure.
Well, not me personally, but it was now I gotta find the text. Oh my gosh. Well, you know what? I think I shared it to you guys, didn't I?
Well, thanks. We're missing you guys too. Seems like you're having a real good time.
Everybody says it's huge over there. Lots of room. What I'm seeing.
William at Dry Cuts there as well.
I'll put any pressure on you, Ian, at all, but you're killing Gaiman's revenue stream.
my head's getting bigger.
So apparently my swarm lure was on a show that was on a streaming TV service, RFD TV, which is kind of like cowboy television where they got country music and homesteading shows and whatnot. So one of the streams popped up my swarm lure there. So that was exciting yesterday.
Pretty awesome. That's
It's on a
really
show
awesome.
called Coop Dreams. So I guess it's a homesteader.
But chickens.
Does chickens and I guess bees. So
I think they just started doing bees. I think this episode was them starting to. Maybe they're starting by trying to catch some swarms.
well, they're starting at the wrong time because that thing aired like October 23rd for the first time or something. So
Well, aired. So maybe it was filmed.
it might have been filmed back in the spring. Who knows?
Yeah.
So
You never know with television.
let's see.
Nobody
So many.
has anything to say. What the heck? We're at a loss for words.
Honestly, I didn't come with a big script. Just wanted to rub
Wow.
shoulders with anybody at the conventions here because feeling kind of left out. I just got my okay to drive today, so this whole thing took me out of commission to go anywhere.
I almost went today.
So
I almost gave in to the FOMO, Ian. I got home from work this morning. It was
Never
like
heard of that before. I didn't have no idea what that meant.
it's 9:30 a.m. and I start calculating. I can be there at about 6 o'clock tonight, and then I could be there all day tomorrow. And then I thought better of it. I even was checking on flights to fly.
you could still get there and be there.
I could leave at midnight.
So
I
it's
could
not
leave
too late.
right now. I could just jump in the truck right now and start streaming from the truck. Okay, we're heading out.
9 hours of streaming from the truck.
Streaming from the truck. But it's it's a great show. Last year was a great show. I can only imagine how much more. And I'm the gear guy, right? What do you call me? The gadget guy, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I would. Last year, no offense, Ian, I went to not a single talk the whole weekend.
Yeah,
I stayed right there in the show.
I think that would be me.
Yeah.
I think that would be me to just go to the trade show and spend all my time there. I mean, I really don't need anything. I have a hard time not taking that little 20
until you
frame
go.
around.
Then you're like, oh, that would be cool. And then you end up with a $1,500 scale that weighs your honey out for you, like I did last year. That they're selling for $700 this year.
or a $30,000 extracting line. So I think that would be me. I'd love to see some people who I've kind of gotten to know a little bit online and to see them in person, shake their hand. But
Yeah.
the trade show definitely be a big draw for me as well.
Yeah, I wish I could have seen more of it last year. I was just preoccupied with other things, but I think
Yeah.
you'd love it, Brad.
Well, you
It's
couldn't go more than
very
about 3
dynamic.
feet.
Yeah, no kidding. But very dynamic. You have all these vendors placed, and then strategically you'd have these other like Greg Burns in there with his stream team, just an active, interactive display. People coming in, watching like live podcast. It is those kinds of things are just, and I think they have that going on again this time. And Duck River Honey's in there doing it again.
We did it last year.
You guys did it last year. Yeah. Just added that dimension, just included the crowd into the trade room. It was really cool. I wish I could have spent more time there. I just could not take it in because I was too busy with other things. But I mean, for like you say, Brad, go there for the speakers. Well, then you miss the trade show.
Well, last year, I mean, the first day, the Thursday, they opened up the trade show portion where there were no speakers. So that first day, it was just everybody walking through the trade show on Thursday. It's kind of like a meet and greet. And then you know, the show started on Friday and Saturday, right? Or the speakers.
Corey's going to talk about that up in Manitoba here.
I was going to ask.
Called him in. Yeah, he's going to be coming in end of February. I kind of twisted his arm because it's going to be cold. He's not sure what to expect, but he's coming up, and he's a busy guy now. He has a presentation. We have him on Friday and Saturday, but Saturday morning has another presentation to make to another association, but that's on Zoom. So I assured him he's going to have internet service up here. But he's going to be talking about virgin queens and introducing virgin queens into nukes or hives or whatever, and just the bee behavior around that. So I cannot wait to hear him talk about that.
I am very interested in that as well because of what I've been going through in my apiary the last couple of years, learning about, you know, just in my queen rearing process, learning about how all that goes, how do the virgins interact. You know, anybody who's watched my videos knows that I've been direct releasing virgins, and I'd love to hear what Corey's learned and what his recommendations are.
How many days do you wait to do that, Brad?
Immediately, as soon as they hatch.
8 after emergence?
No. As far as the hive being queenless, because I do it at about day 7, because that gives it enough time to, you know.
And Corey generally, I think he talks about waiting a while too. Well, I won't speak for what he does because I may have misunderstood some of his videos, but sometimes not very long, sometimes overnight or 24 hours. I do like to make them queenless, and mind you, these are very weak splits. These are just little 1-frame mating nukes, and I'll make them up, and 24 to 36 hours I'll do a cell check and destroy the rogue cells. But sometimes I'm destroying those cells minutes before I put that virgin in there, and I've had excellent success.
Do you release her on top of the frames, or do you let her walk in the front door?
On the top bar.
Okay.
Yeah.
I let them walk in the entrance.
Yeah.
6 or 7 days after, they'll take anything basically. And I did it last year and the year before, and I love doing it. It's really easy. I go in there the day before I do it, knock anything down that I see. I go in day 6 because cells are going to be easily identifiable. And then when I don't have to really look in the cracks and crevices of each frame, although I do, but they walk right in, their acceptance immediately.
And one thing I really like is over using, say, a cell in a mating nuke, is you use cells and then you always have to go back and say, well, that one didn't emerge, or there's problems.
Yeah.
Well, I have 100% emergence because they're actually walking when they hit the frames.
Did you take down the names underneath us there? Who we are, if you will.
I didn't. You know what? That's a setting here. I can't remember where it is, though.
I've been sitting there looking for it.
I forgot my name.
Let me see.
I forgot who you people are.
You people? Did you say?
You guys.
Thanks, Bob.
Looky.
There you go. Oh, we got 174 people on. I'm sure most of them have not seen my channel or Todd's.
Or mine. Yeah.
They're all coming in through Ian's feed.
Yeah. Now I can't wait to see this presentation. I'm getting the gears from some of the guys back here in Manitoba about not. We are present. Our convention's coming the end of February, and we just have the agenda together, just about to broadcast it. But guys, because of the expo, and I'm doing a lot of Facebooking about this expo, they're like, well, what about the one you're supposed to put on?
Yeah.
Just go, come on, guys, just give me a little bit of time. I've taken the last 2 weeks almost off, so I haven't done any association business or anything. My email, folders just overflowing with messages I got to get to. So we'll get back into that business right shortly.
You see what Phil the Bee Man said? I just saw his pallet video about 2 hours ago. He's just here to make sarcastic remarks.
Go for it, man. Go for it.
It'd
It's
be a
all
regular stream.
engagement, right, Ian? It's all engagement. That's what it's called.
I love the engagement. Yeah.
So you guys got a bunch of snow now, Ian, or no?
A little bit. Yeah. We are white. We don't have a lot. We don't have snowbanks. We don't have enough to blow right now, but about 6 inches or so. It's nice, and getting colder now too, which is nice. The shed's a lot easier right now, so that's good.
Strange though, this time of year, right? Hardly anything on the ground.
Yeah, it's not really something we typically see, but it's something that has happened before. When Sandy and I first moved into this farmyard, actually, that was 2001. We moved into this yard, and we had no snow all winter. It was warm, kind of like this. This is before I really got into beekeeping, though. I just remember because we had an early start in April, and we pretty much had the crop sown before May. And just to compare to what typically happens, we usually drag seeding right out almost into June some years. So it was a real early year. It was dry, but we still had the rains come through. So I think we had a good year. So some guys are getting worried about it, but like Dad says, whatever happens through winter really doesn't reflect what's going to happen during the crop year. It's the spring rains and the summer rains that pretty much direct what's going to happen. So everything's cyclical, right? It just depends on where we fall in that cycle. Yeah,
That's for sure.
I'm just perusing the chat.
It looks like we're not going to get as much rain as they had been talking about the last 4 months. So we're back to normal. Right now we have December we had 1/3 of an inch of rain. It's like super dry. We're supposed to get rained on tomorrow, but I doubt it would make 1/4 inch. It's just not like last year. We had 4 or 5 inches of rain in December, January, and part of November too. So it was crazy.
So how widespread is that? Are your reservoirs full again, or are they very low still?
No, they're full, but they had to let a lot of water out because of the snow in the Sierras. They had so much snow up there that they were scared of breaches. So they just let the floodgates open, and it just went and went and went. They finally shut the irrigation canals off about a month ago. And that is the longest time I can remember seeing water in those things. Usually they're done in like July. There's no rain. There's very little snow up in the Sierras, so they're not going to get a lot of melt into the reservoirs. So they stop, the floodgates, and the canals dry up. Well, not this year.
Okay.
It's crazy this year.
I'm about a month away from splits. So a little bit over a month, usually around Valentine's Day. So I've already started pattying them up and everything. So
I was just starting to plan on splits actually when I was out in Calgary, I answered the phone, and Ray Oliveris called me, and he was just confirming some of the Randy Oliver queens that he's going to be producing this year. I guess he's producing these queens. I mean, he talks in big numbers, just crazy numbers, but he says he's going to have 8,000 colonies going to produce these queens of Randy Olivers. I think Randy's going to be involved with the process to make sure, quality control and everything. But he's going to be using these queens. I don't know what they call him yet. I call him Oliver Oliveras, but he's going to be using these queens to stock his packages to be shipped out, and they're all booked already. And so he's not taking orders for the queens, but I've kind of twisted his arm. I'm going to get 300 up here to see how they produce honey, because I don't know how like in California, like you're looking at honey production, but you guys are basically looking at brood nest production, right? Like you're focused on pollination. You guys aren't really focused on, efficacy of producing honey, right?
Yeah.
And I think Randy falls into that camp because he's primarily a nuke producer and a pollinator. But I just love to see what these queens do in a massive honey crop.
I was going to ask you, I thought of some questions to ask you, and that was one of them. What are you going to do for queen rearing this year? Are you going to draw off the stock that you bought last year, or do you have some left over? I mean, that's what I figured.
Those queens are going to get it. As soon as those queens come in from Ray Oliveras, that's not going to take them all, though. Like these packages are going to make it through winter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's as far as I'm going to let that queen go. Someone wants some cheap queens, I'm going to cage them and sell them for $5, whatever, because they're only like they're 2nd-year-old queens. They're buckfast, true buckfast. You can have them if you want.
We'll
nasty ass bees.
Nasty. I don't want nasty.
Hey, they're probably still nicer than my bees.
The ones I got from New Zealand they're decent. The ones I got from Italy, I mean, I have to say they're just angry bees. They produced honey, sure, but I just don't like that. So I'm going to pinch them all off or sell them or whatever. I'm going to replace them with these Oliver Oliveras, and then whatever's left over, we're going to just split them out into nukes. Carrie's going to be happy because we're going to make a shit ton of nukes this year. So that'll be good. She's going to be busy.
Year, I know.
Yeah, she'll be busy.
Yeah, she likes to be busy too.
Yes, she does.
Just I hope we shake our viral problems. I'd had a very high level of black cell queen virus. I'm not sure why it was so high, but I hope that doesn't. That's why I put a pause in everything, because of the severity of that virus. I didn't want to waste our time. I just wanted to recoup what we had. So hopefully things shake out so we can get back into it. It's directly related to nosema, so I'm going to be a little more aggressive on nosema, I think. There she is. Carrie is going to be 15-hour days, nonstop. No honey house work for you. You'll be in the yards. You'll be sick of bees by the time you're done. With this new bee truck, I'm going to have a new arm, and I'm going to give you the old bee truck with that capable arm, and I will hardly see you. You're going to be making me bees all year.
So, we were having a conversation, I think it was Brad and I the other evening, where James is saying he basically does a 2-year queen cycle. So he'll keep a queen for 2 years and then requeen. And so that was the model that I was trying to adopt here. And then we had the whole discussion about if they're flying, they're dying. So what was it, 2 weeks ago, maybe, Brad, that I went through that poly hive for you and showed that I was having slabs of brood in there, right? So then it became in my mind, well, if she's laying continuously all year round, then is 2 years too long to keep a production queen? Should I be requeening every year? Because she's laying technically more than, let's say, your queen would be inside the barn during the winter, basically hibernating until spring, right? So that it seems like the more I make a plan, the more I find out that I have to deviate from said plan every year. So it's like you start on a path that you think you're going to go down, and then you end up forking at all these different roads. So I really need Carrie to jump in your bee truck and take like the 57-hour trip down here. And, hey, they said you can't bring queens from the States, but what about queen cells? Right? So she could just come down and they're technically not queens. They're just eggs, right? Just come down here and breed up a bunch of queens, and whatever she leaves behind for me would be great, and just take them all up there for you.
No, she won't have time for that.
Well, I mean, we get a 3-month head start on you, so she's got 3 months worth of space there, in the nice southern heat down here.
Yeah, she'll be back middle of February, I think. Building and repairing and just getting things ready. What do you think? We're going to be out early, Brad, or do you think we're going to get out late?
I think we're going to be out early March.
Good. I'll hold you to that.
I think I'm going to be out by the end of the first week in March. That's my prediction.
Wow.
Are you going to wrap them up?
The way things are going now, we have hardly had a night in the minus double digits yet. It's the 5th of January. I think we're going to be having temperatures in the barn that are too high by convention. That's my prediction.
Oh, I hope not. I'm going to New Brunswick end of February, first week of March, so hopefully I can hold off a little bit.
Well,
man, I hate those early starts because you get them out. Every year is different. Who knows what's going to be this year? But the years that I've put them out early March like that, second week of March, that cold comes. It's inevitable. It comes. It's nice if we can just hold them till the middle of March anyways. Buy us just a little bit more time. That's where cooler would be nice.
I agree. Nothing saying that it's going to stay warm, but I don't think it really gives them a leg up at all, right? Because they just kind of, you move them outside and they just sit there till the middle of April again, just like they normally would.
Yeah. Yeah. Get them with some patty and just spark that nest up a bit. But you still need to be close to that pollen flow. So if you get them going middle of March, you want that pollen like into April, middle of April already, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Not middle of May.
Sorry, a little distracted. Just trying to make sure things don't get carried away over here.
I can't even see the chat. I should fix my window.
I think we'll go. So, you know what? I wanted to put in some thanks here. There's Dave just sent a super sticker. Mike sent a super chat. Norman sent one. I thank you so much. That does go a long way. I really appreciate it. I really, really do appreciate it.
The chat goes by so quick, it's hard to read them to keep up with them.
It is. There's quite a few in there, so I'm going to put the link in here. And so maybe, Phil, you were chomping at the bit to get in on this, so go ahead and jump in.
I ended up, I lost a nuke, first nuke that I've lost this year. The cluster was sitting right under a pollen patty and a fondant block, and went in there, and they had some resources on the outside, but their heads were stuck down in there and they just froze out. There's Philip.
That's unfortunate.
Hey
Phil.
can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah, better than when you're at home.
Yeah.
Okay, good. I've got the TV on too. If I get feedback, I'll turn it off. I was hoping I could see the comments on it.
So how's the show
doing? It's great. We're missing you guys for sure. I wish y'all were here. It's been really fun meeting people that we see online. So, but yeah, I don't know. Oh, it's a massive amount of people. Oh, somebody's got. That's not me.
Not
Mine are
you,
grown. My kids are gone too. They're out of the
But
house.
yeah, where do I start? I've traded a lot of honey with people and um, met a lot of people and gone to a couple of the presentations. But I find myself sitting in the presentations, and when I slow down that much, I start to fall asleep. So, but yeah, you didn't post my comment about Bob was requesting Scary, and I put a comment in there that Ian's not letting her out of the country without an ankle monitor.
He's got to have a tracker.
He's a little.
Like,
He
you might come down here and
selfish with
say,
Carrie's
"Man,
time,
it's kind of nice down here."
He's a little selfish with Carrie's time, I've noticed, but it's kind of almost like he's been paying her or something.
That's right.
She might become a free
Learn to
agent.
share.
Exactly. But yeah, DC was asking me about the Hives for Heroes, how that was going. It's going very well, better than I expected. We've had people just come up and give donations. Uh, more gift baskets started showing up, more honey. JB over at Stone River, him and his wife picked up some extra gift baskets in case, so we can kind of organize it. But I've just kind of turned it all over to the Hives for Heroes folks, and we're going to do drawings tomorrow morning. And I would say we've got somebody else brought something to raffle, and we had my raffle and their raffle, and there were two different price points, and it was really confusing. So we finally just decided to put it all into one big raffle and use that guy's price point. It was a little bit higher buy-in, but
Phil, are you a state lead or something with Hives for Heroes?
no, I'm not. I'm just a mentor for Hives for Heroes,
Okay.
and I decided to do a fundraiser for them just personally, and it turned out pretty well. And then Carl volunteered me to continue it at Nobby, so that's what we did, and it's worked out great. They're
Nice.
really happy with it. And I got on Fred Dunn's live, and I put in there that we were doing this, and I was wanting him to donate a mug uh, to it. Well, Fred shows up with a way to be bag and a signed smoker, signed and dated Fred Dunn. So that's really cool. But yeah, I want to give credit. I'll probably end up leaving somebody out, but Russell Koopman dropped off some stuff. Paul at Hell Hives dropped off some stuff. Um, a guy by the name of Jimmy Butler. I didn't know him before, but he dropped off some honey. So yeah, a lot of people have dropped off things. Somebody dropped off some honey. I don't even know who it was. I took a picture of it, so maybe I can give him credit. But
I'll just answer
really
that
good.
question. First off, hey, how's it going, Corey?
Good.
Having fun down there?
Oh, it's mind-boggling, to be honest with you. I was blown away, and I feel like a fish out of water.
Yeah, there's a lot of people, isn't it?
It is, and I'm not used to all the people either as well. And but we're having the time of our lives. People are so good, and all the one-on-one conversations that I'm having with various people is what I'm most taken aback from. Like I just put in the chat that I got to talk with Paul Kelly. Well, Paul Kelly lives about 4.5 hours down the 401 from me. And it was the first time I've actually ever even had a conversation with him. It was obvious, I got to have a one-on-one conversation with Bob Binney for a while. All these knowledgeable, great guys, that are willing to talk with me. Yeah, it's been memorable, that's for sure.
What do you think of the trade show?
Well, to what I've seen of it, I had to get out because I was spending too much money.
That's what you bring your wife for, though.
Yeah. But
Exactly.
no, I did get my auger, though, which is one of the main reasons why I did come down here.
You got one. Good.
Yeah, so I did pick one up, or at least I ordered one. Whenever it comes in, I guess. But to what I've seen, there's just so many different things out there. I'm sorry, Brad. I did look for your name on those boxes, and Ian, your name got stolen, so you might be getting a surprise in the mail.
Oh, they didn't take it and burn it, did they?
I don't know. It wasn't there today.
Hey, Corey, they last year Paul was selling thumb drives.
Yeah.
I don't know if they still got them, but it's got every one of their. Not that you couldn't find them on YouTube, but in one spot, it's got every one of their presentations, that videos that they have on YouTube on one thumb drive. So I think this was about 40 US last year. So like 10,000 Canadian or something that that you could pick these up. So if you're at the show, it's got all kinds of stuff, right? Single brood chambers, fall and winter, uniting colonies, nucleus colonies, different varroa mite treatments and stuff like that. So it's a nice little resource. You don't have to look at it. You just pop it in your computer and you should be able to find it.
Yeah, for sure. He's there representing the University of Guelph again. He's talking a lot about the new building he just got out there. And of course, he talks a little bit about our Ontario OBA system, and tech transfer in our area, because he's big into that as well. But we were talking about your Black Queen virus, Ian, and it was funny. That was a conversation I was having with him today. And he's on the same track as you, talking about how he thinks it's related to nosema as well.
Yeah, curse of nosema. Not a lot of beekeepers actually acknowledge nosema as a problem, and I can't figure out why. I mean, you have varroa mite, but you also have gut infection, and nosema seems to be the catalyst of a lot of other diseases. You have black cell queen virus. I mean, you have flare-ups of sac brood virus. All these viruses that just seem to plague the bee when they get infected with nosema. It's a curse. I've been treating it with just nutrition for quite a while, and I've always believed it worked. But last year I just had a flare-up, and sickness is sickness. I was not smart enough to treat quick enough for it. But it's something we need to respect. Anyway, I won't get onto that soapbox. I'm glad you're having a good time down there anyways.
Oh, it is. And I thought I'd come on and try this live feed here. I'm not used, as you guys know, I've never been on this before. But I'm also really slow with the one finger texting too. So it's like, what the hell?
Where's your hotels compared to everything? Is it walking distance? Is it driving?
Yeah, I don't want to put a downer on anything because Cayman's done a really fantastic job in trying to organize this, but one of the hotels kind of went rogue on him and didn't honor the shuttle service. And guess which hotel we're in? So that's why I know. But anyway, that's something that I can send Cayman an email later on, because I'm sure the guy is swamped with 20,000 other things right now. But it's nothing that can be fixed at this point in time anyway.
Nice. So that's cool. There's a shuttle. It's not like there's 3,000 cars trying to get back and forth or anything.
Well, the parking lot is pretty full in there. Most of the hotels, though, you can walk to the convention center. Like we're probably the furthest one away, and it's maybe a 15-minute walk for us each way at the most. And to be honest with you, to get in, it's getting out of our driveway and getting down the long way to the expo center itself is the longest part of the walk. The part along the road, you pass 6 of the hotels within a matter of 5 minutes on by foot. Like they're all right beside each other, all right by the airport. So like for us to fly out Sunday morning, it's a 2-minute shuttle ride, and we're at the airport. So the convenience of that part, the situation of the expo, it was well thought out of, and I thought he did a really terrific job on it.
Yeah.
Hey, Corey, go next door to the hotel next to you and find some people standing outside in front in the morning wearing the name badges, and just move. They're waiting for a shuttle, right?
Yeah.
Just sit there and get in line with them. and boom.
Well, yeah, as funny as you should say that, I tried that, and you know what? It works.
We already know. So yeah, I'd like to add on to what Corey said. He's right. The hotels are just lined up along this street, appropriately named Phillips Lane, I think. But the first night, the big hotel, I forget the name of it, where all the superstars are staying, somebody pulled the fire alarm at about midnight, so they had to evacuate it.
Yeah,
That's
see,
what Jeff
guys,
Lee
I
said,
heard
yeah.
about that. That's at the Crown Plaza.
Yeah.
Oh,
But I will tell you what, I'm at the Residence Inn, which was like $105 a night, which is a lot less than the Crown Plaza, and I am blown away by this place. It's here. I want to show you guys this little suite I got for $105. Let's see. I'm gonna try not to switch my camera. You just have to look over my shoulder. But it's got a full kitchen.
Wow.
I'm sitting in the living room area here. There you guys are on the TV, the big screen.
wow.
You know, the bedroom, the bed area. I think I'm just going to stay here for a few days. There's, a really nice bathroom set up.
That's a nice place.
So if it's here, next year, I will definitely give props to the Residence Inn. It looks like a typical Residence Inn on the outside, but it's quite modern and nice on the inside.
And does your shuttle service work?
I have not tried it, but tomorrow, we're going to have snow tomorrow. They're predicting maybe up to an inch of snow on the ground.
So what time are you going outside at?
But, well, I'm going to try to get there because I want to be there for the drawings that they're doing for Hives for Heroes. But I'm going to try to walk there in the rain and snow because I don't want to buy anything else.
Yeah. Well, we're actually right across the street from you, Philip. We're at the Fairfield.
Oh, yeah. Are you? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just throwing it out there. You're going to go there like, I'm not going to buy anything. I'm going to walk. And then you're going to be walking back with whatever you bought. And you're going to be like, God damn it. Sure would have been nice if I drove.
Yeah, for sure.
Right,
but then we're also looking like every other beekeeper that's coming down there because everybody's doing the same thing.
Yeah, people are filling the shuttles up with all their products. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, but for the show itself, came in, like he did a fantastic job, him and his crew. We're thoroughly enjoying it. You could see the guy running, like he actually met us inside the door. Like Bob Binney came out and he met us on the outside, and then came and was actually just on the inside. But then you could see him getting a phone call, so boom, he was gone again, and like he's probably putting out too many fires at a time all the time, But
does he still have his voice, or is it gone? Last year he lost his voice.
Well, so far he still had it because he introduced Cam and Jack today, and he still had it then. I haven't had a chance to hear from him since then or any of other speeches, but at that time he still did.
Yeah, he seems to be. I could tell in some of the videos last year he was under a lot of stress, but he seems to be more relaxed this year than what I saw. But real quick, I knew most of you guys weren't coming, but there was a couple of people that I wanted to give shout out to that I really hoped I would see. One was Melanie Cruz, and the other was Sarah. But I had you ladies some earrings that Mike Berry's wife got the benefit of you guys not being here, and so did Natalie. I gave her the other set, but when I see you guys, and also Mike, a Minnesota beekeeper, I really wanted to meet Mike. And when I filled out my application where it says state or province, I put in Independence because I got that from Mike, State of Independence. And I'll be damned if they didn't put it on my tag. So I just wrote it in, Mike. State of Independence.
I think I walked by you earlier.
In your honor, Mike. So I can't see the comments, Brad. So if anybody's, I did see Tim at Gunline's flight, and I want to let Tim and Hannah know that they are entered in the Hives for Heroes drawings, and I'm not even telling them how much money it was because I don't want him selling me. But you guys are in the game, so Lee and I took care of that for you.
It's just as well you can't see the comments, Phil, or
Oh, I'm used to it.
Yeah. I cannot see them anymore either once I came on here live.
We always hurt the ones we love. But yeah, I'm gonna let somebody else
Tell you
talk for a
something
while.
to do.
But I am going to want some time to talk about this book that someone gave me. This is a really special gift. I think it's a really neat story. It's about somebody that gets into the chats too. Jimmy's Neighborhood Bees gave me this book. So let somebody else talk. We'll drag it out. So
Say, Corey,
Well,
did you get a chance to talk to the guys at Cowan about the wax spinner?
Yeah, I did. They haven't really changed it up too much, but like you, what you had recommended to me, not to hook it up through the hopper, to run the extractor into its own sump,
Yeah.
and then to run anything from under the capper into through the spinner itself.
Yeah.
And I can get away with skimming off the sump at a later day, at the end of the day, and to get that kind of wax out, which will help me out tremendously. Because you remember the picture I sent you there, Brad, about the all the wax on my tank. It's like, holy God, I
Yeah.
don't want to ever see that again. That's just nuts. But what it's gonna do is it's gonna take away that part where I got to try and get that honey out of that wax, and I'm sure it's going to save me at least a week of work.
is it this wax spinner right here?
No, that looks like is that no? I think that's the mini. I have the full size.
Right. Oh, okay. Because I was really interested in the look of this one. It's $6,500, but
It is
I just
on display.
I just want to see. Well, I just want to see it run. I'm going to go look for some videos on it. I can't. I'm never going to buy this, but it really looked interesting and compact. So.
Never say never. I just saw Phil's truck. Looks like it's loaded down.
Yeah, I still got to try and put 40 boxes on that thing.
Now, where are you storing that? That was my whole thing last year with my truck, is that picking up all the stuff that I wanted would have had to sit in my truck in the parking lot around 3,000 beekeepers. That you hope everybody's honest, but I wasn't willing to risk it in the parking lot of the hotel.
I got my fingers were crossed. That's all I got to do.
If I left now, I could be there before you wake up in the morning. What hotel you staying at?
Don't pick mine. Unless you're bringing a truck, I'll recommend mine.
Yeah.
So Philip, what's with the honey jars in the back? So how many beekeepers down there are becoming while they're at this convention?
Becoming what?
What's with the honey samples and everything down there? Is that all jars you bought there?
The honey swap?
Well, the ones you probably saw are probably mine that I'm still trying to swap. What they have is that they have a honey swap where you can bring your honey in and just you just put it on the table, and then I think they just randomly give you other people's honey. But I didn't participate in that. I just when I see somebody I know and they had honey, we're just doing a swap. I'll show you guys what I have so far.
Yeah, I dropped off 20 8-ounce bottles for the honey swap. You do you drop off a box and you put your name and number on it, and then they've swapped all the honeys around. So then tomorrow at noon, you're supposed to be able to go back and pick up your box, and they'll have from all over the place changed around. Yeah, that looks familiar.
Let's start with this one. Phil's honey. And then I got one from Paul at Hell Hives. And then Tom at Maccabees. Got to meet Tom and did a honey swap. Let's see. Joey Rawls. Been hanging out with Joey quite a bit. My hero. This is really tiny. I don't know if you can see it, but this is Grammy. She had a low honey crop, so she gave really small jars, but I sure appreciate it. Y'all recognize that logo, right?
No, Lee? Charlie did not get a hive lifter. Nobody's selling them here.
Let's see here. Oh, and this one, I the old man in me snuck out to the car today to take a nap, and I decided to try this. This is Brian's, and this is just the plain cream honey. And I want to tell you something. And I haven't talked to Brian since I ate it, but this stuff is amazing. I had to go in for a second fingerful of that. Let's see what else we got here. Y'all recognize this one?
Sawmill
Old Sawmill
Charlie.
Charlie.
I
Yeah,
was just gonna
Sawmill
say
Charlie.
I'm gonna trade Charlie a bunch of honey for that next year because that is some really good honey. I don't know.
And then,
It's hard.
I'm saving it for when I get older and I need a little extra help.
That's probably that spotted Ranford fly. You know, Charlie's honey cures everything.
everything,
Yeah.
and it tastes good
According to
too.
Charlie.
According to Charlie, it does.
this is my last one. This is Russell Koopman. Russell makes a lot of different flavors of creamed honey, and Lee was telling me that one of them was crazy good. He let me pick from what he had there. I got the apple cinnamon creamed honey. It says it tastes like apple pie. So looking forward. I hadn't tried that one yet, but I'm looking forward to it. But yeah, so that's been a lot of fun. Just meeting people and swapping honey. That's kind of been the highlight for me. And the people here that I would normally think weren't that approachable were very approachable. You know, everybody. You know, Fred Dunn, Bob Benny. You know, Yappy. The people that
Oh yeah.
no problem walking up and talking to people. It's been really easy.
Mr. Ed, there's
Yep.
just so many
Yeah,
of
yeah.
them. Mike Berry,
Right.
yeah, it's quite a long list, that's for sure.
I haven't gotten
Or
to
you see Mike again, say hi for me, okay?
To who, Brad?
Mike Berry. You see Mike Berry, say hi for me.
I will. I most certainly will.
Yeah.
He probably doesn't know me from anybody, but I'll tell him Brad says hi.
Never met
The
him,
only
but we
people
talked online quite a bit.
I've got a goal tomorrow to get a picture with and meet Good Time Charlie and Wreckin' Ralph from Mr. Ed's show. I haven't they're here, but I haven't had a chance to meet them yet. So hopefully I'll get to meet them tomorrow. But
Yeah, I had all three of them were standing in line behind me to go with the Hilco. Took a while to pick up our stuff there, so I was talking to them for a while.
yeah. Another really cool thing that happened to me was as I'm driving in, I was texting Brian C. He's a beekeeper in Memphis, and he's on the chat quite a bit too. And as I told him where I was, he said, Gus Mitchell's honey house is right there off the interstate at a certain mile marker. And, that wouldn't geek too many people out, but that geeked me out quite a bit. And because I've been looking for his honey house because I've been watching his videos and the cars running in the back. So that's got to be right there off 40 in West Memphis. So then he said, there's two huge open air colonies on the front of a building. It's about 2 miles off the interstate in this little town called Brinkley, Arkansas. And I said, well, then I'm going to be 15 minutes late because I got to go check that out. So I've got pictures on my phone, which I'm on with you guys, but when I get on the computer, I'll show you these things. There weren't two on the front of this building. There were 4 open air hives on the front of a building, about 50 feet long, 2 stories tall. And 2 of them were at least 4 feet wide and 4 feet long. Totally different shapes, totally different colors. Incredible, absolutely incredible to see. And of course, I had to come to the conference and show that to Mr. Ed and to Fred Dunn and ask them all these questions and how that could be. It faces due north, and they've been there. Brian said there's evidence of them being there on Google Earth since like 2007. So quite an oddity that I was able to see. Didn't see any bees because it was 44 degrees when I came through. But that was a neat deal. I think I'm gonna stop by there and do a little video on it on the way back.
Hey, Ian, you were going to answer a question about feeding or worried about shortages in the shed. I think.
Yeah, asking about hive weights and the warm winter, increased food consumption, fear about starvation. I'm actually not worried too much about it because I went into winter really heavy. I'm weighing them in about 105 pounds, some at 100 pounds, not too many at 95. They went in really heavy, big colonies. They took in a lot of feed, and I fed them up really early too. So my rule is October feeding should be pretty much done by that time, so everything's cured. So I had that, and I just kind of topped them up until I put them into the shed. So I think they're heavy enough, but they're big colonies, big clusters. They're still on the bottom board. I was going to do some, going to blast some oxalic in there in a few colonies to see if there's any mites on them, but I can't get the sticky board underneath the cluster because the bees are just onto the bottom board. So that's a good sign, but it means there's a lot of bees. So we'll just have to, if we get them out in March, it won't matter anyways.
Yeah. Kind of a follow up on the amount of bees that you have. Remember 3 years ago, I think it was, during your videos, you were monitoring CO2 levels. Did you ever play around with that anymore, or just kind of left it like that?
A little bit. My device doesn't register as high as maybe I need to make it useful information. I'm collaborating with another guy in regards to treating, portions of the shed just to see what happens. Just kind of stemming off some research that's been happening up here in our university. So we'll see. He's taking in a lot of data, and he has a very well set up shed, and he has control groups. He has multiple groups, and he's putting different groups into different CO2 treatments just to see what, if anything, is going to happen. Yeah. So I'm very interested, but I'm not doing it here yet. No.
Ian, how far did you end up going with your oxalic acid treatment inside the shed?
I went through 6 colonies, and then I went on holidays. It's going to work though. I'm like Andrew Munn, the guy who helped, we put together Sapis Biologics. He's an industrial safety consultant. He makes gobs of money, and that's his job, is just to manage the hazards of these guys as you're trying to perform operations and such. So he looks at this and he says, Ian, this is my job. I mean, this isn't anything out of the ordinary of what typically happens within manufacturing and especially in the oil business and that. So he's going to help me put together some safety protocols to be able to assess the hazards, address the hazards, and monitor the hazards as we go through. So I've put a few hazards up, being I'm afraid that the dust as it escapes. You've seen my video I put out, Corey?
Yeah, I did.
A little bit of that escape that gets out, and I'm concerned about that dust just kind of collecting on the equipment, and then me coming in a week later and dusting things up, and then ingesting some of their, breathing some of that in. That's what I'm scared of.
Okay.
But Andrew figures that's something we should be able to manage just by like a very light, maybe wash down of or first off, he says what we need to do is to actually see how much oxalic acid residue is actually there. So we're going to test it. And if there's a problem, then we'll see if we can wash it off. And if it's too much work, then it's just straight out the garbage and we won't worry about it. But if it's something that's doable, I think we might be able to take opportunity.
Yeah. And does he recommend then to the having your fans on high for this?
Yeah, that's one thing he suggested. He said my fans aren't high enough and I need more air exchange. And that's going to help take some of that and take it straight outside. And even, excuse me, I got to clear my throat.
Because you're cracking free tonight.
Even if I had an isolated fume hood that followed me around, that could maybe, some of that escape that you've seen that come from my colonies, just suck it straight up and then straight out. That would manage practically most of the issue. But it was I plugged the entrance up, and there's the only loss I was getting from the colonies. It was pretty much contained, except for I have crappy boxes, so I have cracks in my boxes. And if I had better equipment, I think I'd get a lot less loss within the shed. So, at any rate,
You want
I'm
me
not
to
Need to
try
get
in
you a-
mine?
I'm not recommending it, but it's it could be a treatment option. They're broodless right now. That's a
Yeah,
good thing.
Yeah.
that's what I'm thinking too. And I seen you doing it, and I says, like I'm wondering this could probably be something I could work out as well in my shed.
Yeah, that's a problem. That's why I don't put it. Well, here I'm talking about it in front of everybody. But
I'm not helping you. I know.
but you see one Yakko on YouTube doing it, and everybody figures they should be doing it. That's the problem with this kind of stuff. Same with CO2. Like the
Yeah,
last thing
yeah.
that we want to happen is people to walk in a shed that's being treated as CO2 and then drop dead, then have someone come in behind them, just like the slurry pits in the hog barn. It
Yeah.
could be absolutely devastating. So we got to be careful with the hazards. We got to take, we're farmers. We just kind of, caution to the wind, but we need to be able to keep everybody safe and healthy too, right? Because they're just
Yeah.
bees. I want to live for a long time.
Yeah.
The thing is with that shed, the way you have it set up, it's basically a confined space that you're entering, right? Because of the narrow walkways and everything. So
Yeah.
well, yeah, and the CO2 levels, it doesn't have to have a roof on it because they're heavier than air. Yeah, in Texas, there were some people that came down to go hog hunting, and the guy's dog fell into an open well that stuff had gotten in there and rotted, and he went in to try to save his dog, and then his girlfriend went in to try to save him, and then finally, the third member of the party didn't jump in, and called for help, but yeah, all three, the dog and the couple, died. Yeah. They had trouble getting anybody even to go in there and get them. Finally, one volunteer firefighter, after they vacuumed out as much gas as they could, they lowered him in there with the full, gear on, and he was able to pull him out of there. Yeah, it's serious. You don't want to mess around with that kind of stuff.
One interesting thing this one guy is doing, instead of doing the whole shed, he's doing partitions, so that it almost eliminates that hazard. I thought it was really smart, like making a dedicated area within the shed, so then you can move the colonies into that dedicated area, or move this shroud around the colonies, and so something that there's no way you're going to go into as it's being treated. I thought that was probably a good idea.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about is why don't we try it at night and open up our doors and then put big fans blowing the any kind of vapors towards the outside.
That's an interesting idea. Yeah,
that's just a thought anyway, but I'm willing to try it just for shits and giggles sort of thing. But
that comment about clustered at 4 degrees and the OA being hard to, get into that cluster, and is possibly right. You want the cluster, you want that vapor to get into the cluster, right, and get as much coverage as possible. I found when I injected it into the colony, the bees, they really stirred up. So I think the penetration of the cluster is going to be there. And 4 degrees, what do you find, Brad? Like 4 degrees in the shed, they seem very loose and easygoing. It's not like they're clustered
they're
up
not
tight.
super tight. No, not at all. They're I guess you'd say they're clustered, but no, it's just I don't know how to characterize it. They are kind of together, but they're not just super
Not like
tight.
Velcro.
And no. And I would expect that, like you say, Ian, I would expect exactly that. If you blew a bunch of OAV in there, they would kind of loosen up to fan that around and kind of take care of it.
Yeah, that seemed to be what they did. Yeah.
I've often thought about doing OA treatments from like the feeder holes. And I know, Ian, you can't do that right now, but when they're outside, there's, you could make up a device that will let the OA naturally go from the top to the bottom, because to me, it seems like when you're doing it at the bottom, you're losing a lot on the, on the bottom board right away, or the pallet, whatever it is. Mm-hmm. It's not going up until the bees really fan it around inside the hive.
I find that misconception that OAV doesn't naturally go up; it goes down.
No,
Mhm.
that's what I'm saying. But I mean, that's why you want to do
Yeah.
it from the top. You get a
Right. I was underscoring what you're saying. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, that, and then when you do it from the bottom board, if you get like one dead bee in front of where you're putting it in, it turns into Mount Oxalic acid on that bee.
Yeah. It
None of it gets
crystallizes right away.
And the
Yeah.
other thing is if you have a frame in the way, or if you do it from the back, down at the bottom, what if that hot copper pipe hits a piece of wax in the on a frame, on the edge of a frame. You don't know what happens there. You spark it up, But I'm wondering why no one's done anything about doing it from the like a feeder hole. I don't know. I guess you could drill a
Gus
hole at the
Mitchell,
top of the hive, and stick the tube in there from the like an Instavap or
yeah,
whatever.
Gus Mitchell does his from the top for that very reason. But you have to be careful at the top. If you don't have a feeder shim on it, you got to make sure you go between the frames, or you're not going to get any penetration into the colony.
Yeah, that's true too. It won't really have time to spread out, but
yeah. Well, that what happens with that OA is it as soon as it hits a surface that's cooler than its vaporization point, it recrystallizes. That's why it works. That's why it works. So yes, if it hits something that's very near that opening, it starts crystallizing immediately, and you'll get a mound of it right away.
I guess the way I think about it, going from the top, you're blowing it down in a very specific area.
There, you're correct. Yeah.
Yeah, so you might need a shim. Where at the bottom is almost, it kind of goes everywhere, and then up if it's going to go up. Yeah, that's the way I see it. And I know Andrew, every time he sees me run a video about treating with OA, he sends me a message that says you have to start blocking off the entrance. And he says 10 minutes, which might be overkill, but he figures I should be blocking the entrance off just to keep the bees from, blowing it back out. He said you want to keep it in there as long as you can, so then it can, gather on the bees. He finds like he's crazy is what he is, but he keeps he tests things one way or the other just endlessly, and he comes up with
the best scientists are crazy.
Yeah. well, Cameron Jack, I went into his presentation today, and he was talking about the effects of what the auxilic vapor does inside the box, and no matter if you do it from the top or from the bottom, as it expands, as it supplements or vaporize, however you want to call it, it comes up and it just overwhelms the entire box. It doesn't really matter to him. He figures of which way it goes, if I understood him correctly today, because there was even a question on how does the oxalic acid vaporizations work on those horizontal hives, other than just the Langsdorff hives. So, and so if I understood him correctly, it's just that it will go in and it will go and it'll just fill up the whole cavity and it'll settle in from there on top of the bees. But he couldn't answer. He doesn't want to really answer either, because I was asking him the question, just exactly what is happening. Why does this oxalic acid kill the mite but doesn't harm the bee? And the science still doesn't really explain that, at least to what I can understand. There's different theories, including one, I guess, that just came out at Apammonia just this year, where they talk about how the vapor lands on the mite, and it creates a chemistry reaction where the heart of the mite just stops beating, and it kills them. So there's that. There's grooming behavior. There's different theories as to why the mite dies, but not the bee. So it was a very interesting talk, and I'm actually looking forward to his part 2 of this presentation tomorrow. He talks at 3:00, I think, tomorrow, which I have every intentions of showing up for, because we got to figure this out.
I wonder if one of you guys over there could do like a pirate video. Do they not allow cell phones in these speaking engagements, or what? I mean, just hold a video up or a camera up and
Get
Well,
booted out.
all the videos,
Yeah, out of
all the
3,000 people,
presentations
you'd
are
be the
being
only one.
videoed, though.
Yeah. They're giving us all the presentations as part of our ticket price this year.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
one of
okay.
the theories that I heard was that mites smell from the bottom of their feet, or taste and smell, I think. And so as they're walking across the surface of wherever they're at inside the hive after it's been applied, OA's been applied, it burns them. It's like what Corey was saying, kind of a chemical reaction, but it really just kind of burns them from the outside in. But I did recently hear about what what Corey said about giving the mite a heart attack. I mean, that's awesome. But there's all kinds of theories.
As long as it's the kiss of death.
Yeah. I mean, they'll starve obviously if they're
Yeah,
eating-
Randy showed
eating
that in a
apparatus is
presentation
awful.
recently.
Yeah.
I saw about the heart, and I called it a heart attack, but whatever, I don't care. It was the mite's heart changed. It started slowing down or something.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah.
it seems like that might be it. And it was just a touch. They said they just touched that mite with the acid, and right away, heart started slowing down. And
Let
the
me tell you,
crystals don't really touch the bee as much as they sit on those hairs.
the hairs,
The
right?
crystals collect on those hairs, so they don't really touch the bee as much. And Randy did a lot of testing to see how much acid is left on the bees over time, and how much it takes to really harm the bees or kill them. And it's pretty interesting research there. And he
Yeah.
did make the point that he said if oxalic acid, it's in the dihydrate crystal form, and if there's no moisture, it doesn't burn. Like you can spill it on your clothes or something, it's fine. You put water on it, and it's going to burn through, right?
Right.
And that's why you get it on your hand. It'll burn your hand because your skin is always a bit moist.
Well, I did a short of a mite crawling around a quarter, kind of to show its scale. But what that short didn't show, because it's 60 seconds long, when that mite crawled off that quarter onto the counting board, crawled through a little bit of oxalic acid, it died a horrible death, and that was beautiful to watch.
Yay. There was much rejoicing.
That's right. Well,
Have they-
hello, Brian.
Hi, everybody. How's it going?
Where have I seen you
Welcome,
before?
Brian.
I want to jump in and ask Ian a question, if that's okay. Ian, I heard your comment about Andrew Munn on your previous video, and you just restated it. Is he making that comment to you based on any data or experiences, or is he falling back on the recommended application strategy that they because what he's telling you is how they recommend to do it, right? But does he have any data that backs up that claim?
Oh, Andrew has data with everything.
He's a data guy.
Yeah, he's a data guy. He actually tells me, those crack spoons, the old way of doing it. He tells me that it was probably the most effective way of dropping mites. And he's always told me that the Provaps, inconsistent.
But again, where does his belief come from? Is it based on his experience? Is it based on
yeah,
data?
like he has 50. I don't mean to be speaking for him. I shouldn't be speaking for him, but he does have 50 colonies back, and he's running all these little trials and everything. So everything he does is based on experience, and it's all data driven for sure.
That'd be an interesting little field study, because I get where you're coming from, is needing to be time efficient, but you want to maximize your time as well. So, like, which is the best? Is it better to save that time and blow through them all, or is it better to have another person going by and like pulling stuff 10 minutes later? So
if he's watching this, he's probably throwing stuff at the computer. Says, "Ian, be quiet. You're gonna turn again now." He's pretty used to that, though. Yeah, and with this, like the supplement that he's developed, and we've been kind of collaborating together.
Yep.
Everything he does, he's pulling. He just doesn't do it for no reason. He pulls science that's published science, and he's pulling it into application is what he's doing, and he's trying to make that science, apply it, and we're trying to see if it's actually going to result into something. And so it's just kind of an ongoing type of trial is what we're doing. And he's tweaks it here, tweaks it there, more science, brings it in just like that. It's really fun to be just collaborating with him. He's the brains and I'm the bees. So he's got this. Oh, I don't know how much I should say of this. He's maybe I'll just stop.
You and the camera.
he might just jump in.
Nobody's watching.
Nobody's watching.
Only
You
250
see any
people
rabbits
in the
going
phone.
down that hole?
Yeah, actually, it's kind of interesting because Man Lake just called me. They're down at the expo and they're putting some of the rocket fuel in their patties right now too. So Andrew's probably struck a deal with them, and they want to just get first-hand experience of somebody who uses it. And I'm a guy who uses it. I have nothing to do with his business. He's the business guy, but I'm gonna have Andrew there just to, if I'm talking about it, just to help, because I have a terrible time talking about the science behind what this actually. All these little ingredients and the balance of it, and how he's trying to set it's a prebiotic, so you're trying to set the plate in a way to promote the microbial growth, and it's the microbes, we think, that's actually ones that convert the nutrients into usable form and such. And then with that, you got to feed the microbes at the balance of nutrients coming in. It's just a real complicated mix and how things work. So.
And he talks epigenetics, and I find that epigenetic conversation fascinating. And I don't quite follow it completely, but still, it's so amazing. So
Andrew's so crazy that he's redone his webpage because he gets so many questions in regards to all this stuff. So he's spelling it out on his webpage and exactly what all this does, and then he's putting the recipe of the product on there. So, I mean, anybody could rip it off if they want, I suppose, but he's going to have it all there because he's a full-time. He says the contribution that he wants to make impact. So if he can put more information out there for people to be able to use, then maybe we might be able to use it into something more useful, because he says, what we have here, we're on to the next stage, Ian, anyway. So let's just keep this engine going. But g'day, James.
How are you doing?
Good.
Dr. Evil.
Anybody got a hobby with that Man Lake pre-mixed rocket fuel? I thought I saw that in the bag form and not in the patty form, but their website only has patty. Did I miss a picture or
in the bag? It's probably in the patty form. I don't.
It's just patty.
That's interesting.
Well, I
don't know
if anybody
like yesterday was the first time I heard of it. Andrew's been doing a bunch of business dealings with them, I guess. But I thought it was in the patty form. I could be wrong though. Yeah, I could be.
Well, I was hoping it was in the bag form. You can mix it yourself, because patty's nice, except for when you got to ship it and mix.
That's a good point. I'm not sure. Yeah, you'd have to ask Andrew about those specifics. Yeah. Is that your bee barn?
I am in the bee barn. You betcha. So
did you fix your door?
Oh yeah, that only cost us what? Well, I think by the time everything was said and done, about the lock was $250. The cameras were an additional $500. So by the time everything is said and done, it cost me about $1,200 there on Tuesday.
They broke the cameras too.
They stole them. They took them.
Oh, Jesus.
So, so we're out here kind of. I'll see if I can spin this camera around, and we're out here just kind of weighing to see what the damage was, because we lost a pile of bees. Let's see, how do I do this?
You need to put a Belgian Malinois around your shed.
You know what?
Take care of that.
They didn't get out of here scot-free. So let me. I will say that for sure. But here's the back camera. So, let's see. Did I do that right?
Black.
It's pretty dark.
Can you? You got your phone on you there, Alan? We're just gonna get a flashlight here for you.
Get him to turn the bright light on.
How about no?
There you go.
All right.
Okay.
We'll see if we can make this work for you. So, He went and locked himself out.
It's like, see you later.
So we definitely lost a few, but as you can see, these ones aren't doing too bad yet. So, but there's a few of them that these were all hives that were opened up, but you come over to these ones and they're done. They're gone, finished. So a little bit of a cluster in there, but so yeah, we got hit pretty hard. But let me see if I'll go outside here if Alan can show his light. But I don't know if you guys can see this. Those are all dead bees that all flew out when the door was all open.
Oh,
jeez.
Oh no.
It
How long was it open?
all
night.
5:21 is when we got the notification, and I was out here about 6:20, so an hour.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So
Sickening.
that sucks, James. I'm sorry. I think all of us feel that.
We hold grudges, man.
Yeah.
So
Too bad the shed wasn't colder. It might have kept him a little bit tighter. Eh?
I was going to say my alarm system is set up really sensitive here right now, so I just keep getting all sorts of notifications. See if I can flip this back around.
How cold is it where you're at right now, James? I mean,
How do I
like what Ian was saying, wasn't there enough cold
Did I
air?
lose everybody?
No,
I
you're
think I lost.
No, we got you.
Oh, there you are. So yeah, that's kind of what we're up here tonight. So we got all new cameras installed, inside, outside, whole new lock on the door, fixed the door jamb, lost a bunch of bees. So the funny part is how I know they didn't get out unscathed is they didn't take everything. So there's a bunch of stuff that was right by the door, and I don't know if Charlie's on, but they didn't even take a hive lifter. So I know it wasn't Charlie.
So it wasn't.
So,
talk about a silver lining.
Yeah, I don't know. It's disheartening. You work so hard to build something up.
Well, they should be easy to catch, though. You should be able to follow the line of crap that they left behind when they were getting
build her back up.
No. I don't think James heard that one.
I think I lost him.
No.
Yeah, I lost him.
No, you're here.
We see you, James.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a bummer.
That's terrible. I hate that.
I don't think I ever heard of the bees ever being stolen out of a shed before. You hear about it in the almond pollination, but out of a shed? Holy wow.
Did they steal the bees? I didn't catch that part.
Oh, maybe I misheard something then.
No, I don't think he stole the bees.
Sounded like equipment.
Just the equipment, and they left the door open.
You had to know the equipment was there, and that sounds.
Put a nice fence around that place and put a Belgian Malinois in there, and problem solved. Someone comes walking in there at 5 a.m, they'll get chewed up.
Yeah.
And a bear fence around the inside so they don't see it. They open up and come in and get zapped.
And lots of cameras, Todd, for that solution too, because that'd be highly entertaining.
Yes. Oh yes, it would.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would.
Well, just a few days ago, Todd, you were saying put cats in the barn. Now that's not going to be work with the.
Well, that's a different problem.
Oh people debate cats and dogs. Dogs will go in a burning building to drag you out. Cats, stuff cart starts going down. That cat is gone. Right? You're on your own, Charlie. I'm out of here.
Took care all those rats, and then you brought a dog in on me.
I have a question for the people
earlier. You should try again because we're limited to 10. There we go.
I have a question for everyone at the conference. or conferences. Is anybody going to talk about Tropalelos? You
Not
know.
here.
No,
Not
there
here.
was no
Not
speakers about it.
No.
They are going to talk about
Probably-
yellow-legged hornets tomorrow, though.
Yeah.
They'll probably talk
Yeah.
about that at American Bee Federation.
Yeah, Sammy Ramsey's going to be there, so he's one of the keynotes. I think he's just updating everybody on his research. And I'm going to ABF too, so it'll be fun to get the kind of comparison between the two. And what I'll do is I'm packing up all my stuff in my truck, and I'm seeing what space I have left in the truck, so I can do a little shopping at ABF too.
Kind of glad you didn't swing by and pick me up. I would probably be strapped to the top of your truck.
That's right. Yep. In fact, yesterday, I have buddies from Colorado that are out here. They called me up in a panic because they over purchased. So they're like, "Do you have any room in your truck?" So I went over. I put some stuff in the back of my truck, and then they figured it out, and then we switched stuff back. So
Boy, those guys at the trade show are just going to love that, making sales, eh?
yeah,
Guys spending money.
Got to be massive. Love
You
to
can
see
barely
that.
walk the aisles half the time.
So and it's so big, like there are people I haven't even seen yet that I know are there that I want to see. So I had a great conversation today. I got to go out to lunch with Eugene Makovic and the ex lady who organized the state master beekeeping program for Colorado. So she's written for ABF before. She's actually there at the conference to do some articles for ABF. And I keep calling it ABF, but it's ABJ. And I was about ready to go to lunch today, and I walked right by her, and she said, "Brian," that was the first time I saw her. So I went over, talked to her, and she's like, "Well, I'm going to lunch with Eugene Makovic. Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Heck yeah, I do." So I got to meet him, had a nice little conversation with him. So that's what I'm here for, getting to meet all those people. Man, I got to shake Philip's hand, Phil's hand. I got to see Tom Maccabee's. Like last year, I nerded out on like shaking people like Ian's hand. This year, I'm talking to all you guys, right? And just networking and having fun with all that. Like I met Dry Cut, he was there. Just all these guys on the chat. It's fun to meet.
You seen Charlie?
We went out to dinner. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sorry. I must have checked out.
Yep, we went out to dinner
didn't
tonight.
hear you on that. I'm having audio issues with my beautiful laptop here.
So I made a new best friend here. From I bought the extractor from Better Bee to save $300 in shipping, and so I went over there and I talked to the lady. She said, "Yeah, meet us at the truck dock behind the building at 2:45 or whatever." And that was like 20 minutes away. And then I was kind of late getting back there. So guys, this place is so massive. Driving around the building to a truck dock in the back, you go back there and there's like a set of truck docks over here, another set over here, another set over here. And you get confused, have to drive around an arena to get there. It's crazy. So when I got back there, I was like, I can't figure this out. I'm just going to go back into the exhibition hall and reset. Well, I get a call, and it's Dr. David Peck calling me. "Where are you?" And I've got a PhD loading my extractor, so I can't figure out where he is. He can't figure out where I am. I have to drive around to the front of the building. He walks all the way around this massive building, and finally we get together. And he gets in the car with me, and we drive. And he shows me how to get back to the truck dock. We get ready. We lift it up into the back of my wife's Honda Pilot, and it's like 2 inches from fitting. So now we got to break it out of the box. He has to go back into the center, get a screwdriver so we can unscrew it off the pallet, tear the box. It took over 30 minutes, I know, to do all this. And at the end of it, he won't forget me. I knew who he was already, but he's like, "Who is this idiot?" But now he was really nice about it. And I said, "I always heard Better Bee had good customer service, but this takes the cake."
But you didn't see from my videos how well that licensed equipment comes packed, like in crates. I mean,
if it slid in there, it would have been beautiful. But yeah, we had to take everything off of it. It fit fine after that. But yeah, it was really packed well. There was the box that came in, and then that inside of that box was stuffed with about probably not less than 12 other boxes. But and some of those boxes
That's
had
something that
date
I've been
on
wondering
it.
too. 'Cause, people have been sometimes asking questions. I've been wondering about this, and I don't think we've had anybody here commenting. Certainly not on the screen who's been attending the Hive Life down
Here you
there.
go, Brian.
So do we have? Sorry.
Oh, Brian Flower City
I
is sitting in one of the kids' rocking chairs.
Yeah, that's Phil's background.
I
That's Brian
haven't
and Lee,
heard,
right? Yeah.
I haven't heard
sorry,
today
it's kind of small.
how the how Hive Life is going. So I'll have to see if I can find out tomorrow. Obviously, it's not as big as Nabi is, and the people that are going there typically are not YouTube crowd. They might watch
Well, yeah,
YouTube,
that's
but
kind of what
they're
I'm thinking.
it's a different thing going
Yeah.
on right there. So
Yeah.
Now, some of the pictures I did see some people posting of Hive Life and the convention or for the vendor area. They have the vendor area and all the speakers are all in the same room.
Ooh.
You know, it's too bad that they don't are. I think two would be great, but obviously two at the same time is not, you know,
Yeah, that was a mistake.
ideal
Nobody
situation.
wins
But
there.
you know, if you think about it, if you have two separate dates, maybe a month apart, maybe a couple of weeks apart, it would benefit the beekeeping public and then also the vendors. You know, keep everybody happy, and it's.
Mhm.
I hope in the future that they could do something like that. Because it would be great for everybody all the way around, speakers, vendors, and just people coming.
Yeah, I would agree with that because this is my first time attending one of these conventions, and the thing that I'm going to take home the most is the wealth of information that's being shared to us who are relatively new to the beekeeping industry. There's just so much being shared by both the people in academics as well as the experience. Bob Binney talks so much about the knowledge, but he also talks so much about the art. And you see that when you talk to several individuals on one-on-one, and all beekeepers could use that kind of help, and that kind of information and that kind of sharing of knowledge.
And it could help out people who might. Oh, I can't make it this week. It's too bad both of them are this week.
Mhm.
Yeah, I can make it. The first week of February, but just not this week. So if it was a scenario like that, it'd be awesome. I think it would be beneficial all the way around. And I certainly hope that it doesn't become a competition, because that's not what it should be. It should be an educational experience, and it should be an experience that people coming can listen to the speakers they want to listen to, look at products that they want to look at, buy what they want to buy. I think it would just be a disservice if it became a competition between this conference and that conference. That's just
Who's going to blink
Yeah,
first?
couldn't
Pretty much.
agree more. Yeah, couldn't agree more.
Well,
I
I
would
think
hope
we
it
all-
wasn't decisions. I don't know why decisions are made, but I would hope it wouldn't be any kind of a competitive thing on why things were done that way. It's because I agree with you, Todd. Nobody wins. Nobody wins when there's this. The vendors don't. The speakers don't. The public doesn't. Um, when there's conflicts like that, and you can't. I mean, scheduling conflicts. I mean, then you can't take in the other thing because, like you said, it's a different kind of a format, right? It's a different. The speakers are of a different type. And I wouldn't say a different caliber or anything like that, but more academics perhaps, and less YouTube stars and stuff like that. So it's really unfortunate, and I've heard a lot of people say that they really wish that there wasn't a scheduling conflict that way. Can't be in two places at one time, right? Simple as that.
Mhm.
Plus,
Well, I
then they can load all their vehicles up twice.
Yeah. And you can find out what you can fit in your truck for next time.
If you didn't buy it this week, go next week and you can get it.
Because, in my case, for example, if one had been next weekend, then maybe I could go, because I couldn't go this time. I couldn't drive before today, because of my medical reasons.
I'm actually
And
just
so there was no way for that to happen. So if there was another one next weekend, then I could do it.
And
I'm
if
picturing two conferences, right? And Phil's going to go to Betterby and he's going to buy something too big for his vehicle. He's going to be like, Doctor,
Yeah.
here, take it apart. You take half to the next conference. I'll pick up that half. Right?
Good point. Good point.
Another thing to point out is for me, I have to haul all the way from the West Coast almost all the way to the East Coast. And I'm not saying anything bad about location, but boy, it certainly would be nice if it was centralized. Or,
like Dallas.
okay, we have Nobby this month. How about next month you have a West Coast version of it? Because I guarantee you, there's a ton of people that would go to it that are from the West Coast that don't want to make a trip to Kentucky or Tennessee, wherever it may be, because of the distance and the cost and stuff like that. It may not be as big, but I guarantee it to be a huge success. Anyway, I'm just thinking out loud. But maybe a Nobby Part 2 or something, or hive like whatever.
I think done in respect and not not trying to badmouth anybody, put anybody down. I think all feedback is worthwhile to everybody who's organizing and running and managing events like this, because really it's about the people that go, right? You can organize whatever you want, but if you stand there all by yourself in an empty room, it's not gonna do any good. So it's really the feedback and whatnot from the people that go and the people who couldn't go. Right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I do
all feedback
and I do understand it's an enormous undertaking. I mean, it takes months and months of preparation. So I do get that. But a centralized location wouldn't be such a bad idea. Just thinking out loud. I still wanted to go though. Work has gotten a little crazy, so I couldn't go.
Well, we could have had 5,000 instead of 3,000 if they just centralized it.
I'd love to see Phil, the Bee Man, at the next Cayman conference.
Oh,
that'd be great to have
absolutely.
speaker there.
Yeah.
Phil, I love your stuff.
They just need to change the name to Cayman Con.
Nightly.
Yeah.
Cayman Con. Yeah.
That's it. Instead of Comic Con, it's just Cayman Con.
Yeah.
I think Brad answered Phil's question just a little bit earlier. Maybe say that again, Brad. What's the difference between this expo and the other association meetings? What difference do you see? Putting you on the spot again.
Well, mostly the speakers, and again, I wouldn't say the caliber of speakers, because I think they both have very high caliber speakers. But kind of bouncing off what Bob just said, Cayman Con. You think about that big convention, the Comic Con that they have. Well, it's where all the sci-fi fans get to meet their heroes, right? And there's plenty of that at Nobby, and great, because that's really what draws a lot of people. I mean, the trade show too, but we all want to network. We all want to meet. We all want to meet Ian. We all want to meet, Bob and Todd and King Bob and each other.
Throw your name in there too, Brad.
What's that?
I said, throw your name in that list too.
Certainly.
That's
right.
That's
I don't know
right.
if I can handle that.
I think Ian,
Hive Life this year, they've got a lot of academics. They've got a lot of really, really good speakers, in my opinion, that I would love to hear.
Yeah, and
it's not the
Ian,
same. It's not the same thing. It's the same days. So that's the problem.
yeah,
It's not a carbon copy. It's not a repeat.
I think Ian pointed out in a chat a week ago or so that Cayman has tapped into something by really including the hobbyist and the sideliner. It's not just commercial beekeepers and academics, which a lot of the other conferences cater to. And there's so many more sideliners and hobbyists that was a huge draw. And he's been able to maintain a certain number of commercial beekeepers in there. As a matter of fact, one of the seminars I want to go see tomorrow is Chris Werner. He's going to talk about the logistics of running a 4,500 colony operation. And I'll never do that, but I am really interested in hearing that talk. That's going to be really fun to go to.
The other thing
That's
is
the one.
he got the buy-in from all the vendors too, right? So you know, people are going there and paying for their ticket with what they're saving, right? And so when I go, you know, I'm usually a vendor at my local association meetings and whatnot, and other vendors show up and it's 10% off, or you get free shipping off of regular price, you know. But you look at the Nobby page and the sales and everything, that's a driver right there, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he
Yeah, the
pushes
amount I
pretty
see
hard.
paid for the trip.
Well, I think it's cool that you can look at a hand crank extractor and then walk 50 feet and look at a full line cowing setup in the same space. That's you don't see that in most places.
You know, I think it's mindset a little bit, because I was at a meeting down in January, and very nice people. But I asked them, were they going to Nobby, and their perception was, well, isn't that just for hobbyists and sideliners? Right. So the perception, I still get the feeling that not everybody, but it's like I like to call them commercial elitists. It's that, you know, we've got this many colonies, we're better than you or more successful than you. We don't have time to work with you, right? That's kind of the mindset the vibe I get from them. And still nice people, not personally, but it's just, that's kind of a turnoff to a guy that's got 1 or 2 colonies or 4, you know. And when you come on our live streams here on YouTube, you know, Ian's got 1,500 colonies. The other night we had a guy that had 4 colonies. And we've had people that just want to get into beekeeping. So, and I think that's kind of where Nobby, formerly Hive Life, that's where it started, right? It started with the YouTube crowd of the backyard sideliner, and there's a lot of us. So they've kind of incorporated that. And I think a lot of the associations, like this one that I went to in January, most everybody there had 1,000 colonies. So it's almost like they didn't have time for the smaller guy. Now I think it's in talking with some people from ABF, now they're like, well, hey, how do we incorporate that? Well, it's easy. You got to reach the people. And the only way you're going to do that is start doing more things like this, where you're reaching them. You're not reaching them right now because they don't want, a lot of people don't want to go sit in that conversation that Philip was just talking about with 40. Well, I'm never going to have 4,500 colonies in my backyard. So they just failed to participate, I think. And at Hive Life or Nobby, hey, we're part of the team. You know, it's an inclusive atmosphere. And I think that's where a lot of associations may be missing the mark a little bit.
I don't know, like I'm sure all those are very good points, but like, when did Cayman start dreaming this Nobby idea up, or even Hive Alive or the Hive Conference? You know, I always got the impression
4 years ago.
Yeah, but I just always got the impression that he just wants us all to be successful. They want to see us all with healthy, vibrant hives, colonies. so there's information being shared just to make us all better beekeepers. And I guess that's the way I view it the most, most of these conferences.
You get that from the local associations. I've never been to an association meeting where there's anything, but that. That's the whole drive,
Yeah.
State bee inspectors are there, they definitely want you to succeed. It's quite literally their job,
Yeah. I've been watching Cayman for a lot of 4 years or so since I started watching YouTube and keeping bees, and he's always said that a problem he has with a lot of commercial beekeepers is they tend to not really want to talk to the hobbyists and the sideliners. If you don't have at least 500 colonies, they just kind of ignore you. And he took that personally early on, and he sort of gravitated towards larger beekeepers who don't mind talking to him, and by extension, other beekeepers, which it's Bob Benny, and through Bob Benny, people like Chris.
There's a lot of different concerns at different points, and I don't know we should carry this kind of progression on too far, but
Sure.
For one thing, when you're targeting hobby and sideliners, well, hobbyists specifically can do something that I can't do. They can go and find a product at whatever, at the store or at a convention or somewhere and say, wow, I like the look of that product and I think that might help and I'm going to buy that. Well, I have to throw in there, will it make me money? Right? A hobbyist doesn't have to do that. Now, they may choose to do that, but it's a hobby. They don't have to do that. On the other hand, I'm freed up in such a way that I can say, there's a $2,000 hive lifter that'll do this, this, and this for me, and it's a business. It's a business expense. It's part of my business. I'm going to lay down $2,000 for the hive lifter, whereas a hobbyist may go, gee, that's a lot of dough for lifting boxes, right? But it's not that they got it. They're going to say, well, that doesn't make, well, it's a capital cost, so I can depreciate it over 5 years. And, if it makes me this much and it saves me that much on my taxes and all kinds of stuff, the hobby's not going through that. Right. So you can sell hobbyist stuff that you can't sell maybe a commercial or even a sideliner. And I'm not bad mouthing or putting anything down. It's just sometimes there's different considerations. Commercial beekeeper wants to talk just as much about the price of honey as they do want to talk about the latest mite treatment. Hobbyists don't care what the commodity price of honey is. They may say that they don't really care for the fact that there's adulterated honey coming in from overseas. Well, yeah. But really, that works for them because they can say, yeah, you buy it on the shelf. It's garbage honey. You should buy my honey, local honey. Whereas commercial beekeeper has a lot more skin in that game to keep that out. And they pay big money to keep the regulators on their toes, to keep that stuff out. So there is a lot of difference that I think sometimes it might look like conceit, whereas a commercial beekeeper might not relate even. So if I don't relate to somebody, then I can't really talk to them on whatever they need to talk about sometimes. And honestly, in the hobbyists I deal with, and I like dealing with hobbyists, I do have a hard time relating. Somebody's asking me about wintering, how do they wrap their hives to winter their bees? And I'm just looking at them, well, I have no idea. I don't know how to do that. I mean, I'm exaggerating. I kind of do, but I have almost no experience, right? So they've been doing it for 3 years, and they have 3 years more experience doing it than I do. So I think sometimes that might come across as, well, you're just a hobbyist. I don't, but that's not it at all. I cannot relate to their paradigm because
you're exactly right. You're exactly right about the mindset, Brad, because I think also on YouTube, a hobbyist is a lot more likely to want to watch you keep bees, and they also don't mind watching you build lids or watching another large beekeeper cut the heads off of sunflower seeds or go hunting with their children, because we think about things. That's entertainment to us as well. It's just not all business, all beekeeping all the time. So
Well,
that's the whole broad net.
exactly. So like when I was at that show, I was asking, hey, do you watch YouTube beekeeping? I would say 95% of the guys at that particular association meeting said, no, don't have time for it. Or, I think everybody's got a little time, but it's, they didn't. I mean, so it's definitely two different audiences, right?
There's also
they'll tell you all about their 18-wheeler, and they'll tell you exactly how the custom paint job and their chrome toolbox underneath the thing. They want to always talk about their truck, which is fine, but it's just a different paradigm, right? They don't. The hobbyist wants to talk about screen bottom board, and the commercial beekeeper wants to talk about how many hives he can get on his deck, right?
Well, that, and then also, if you have a hobbyist or a sideliner that comes up and is talking to a commercial beekeeper with many thousands of colonies, and the commercial beekeeper says a management practice that they do not particularly like, and then it's like, well, you don't actually know. I have 2 colonies, and let me tell you how beekeeping works.
That's another topic.
So sometimes it's
what do you call those things? Rabbit holes?
So we have 4 people at Nobby, right? So I just want to let you guys I just want to see what other people are doing here. So what you're missing out on, right? So I was out in the winter framing a house today. And now tonight I'm batting down some mead. We know Ian is on his phone all day yesterday and today, so we don't even need to hear from him. We know what he's doing. Brad, what have you been doing?
I made $1,000 worth of deliveries to my stores today.
Nice.
And I didn't even have a driver's license for half of the day, so I did pretty good. So
Brad, that's more than I spent today. Not by much.
All I need to know, Brad, is that.
Yeah. What else?
Brad, am I getting my 6 a.m. Weekly dose of Brad tomorrow morning?
It'll be there, my friend.
All right.
It'll be very interesting, but it'll be there.
That's all right. It's a habit.
So
I want to go back to that talking to people.
Alternative to Nobby.
I wanted to go back to talking to people on different levels. It really is a skill set to remember where you were and be able to talk to different people on different levels. And a lot of times when people come up to me and they ask for my advice, my responses aren't always the same based on who that person is in front of me. Like, I'm not going to suggest to a second-year beekeeper that they overwinter a 5-frame nuke. I can do it, and I know other people can do it, but I'm not going to make that suggestion to a new beekeeper. However, someone that's got the experience under their wings to get to that, I would talk to them about something like that. And it's hard to remember those steps that you went through to get to where you're at now. It was a long journey.
I have.
Yeah, but it's a skill set. It's a really important skill set if you're going to be a teacher, to understand those different levels of how you talk to people. And also, related to that, the times when you have conversations with people and you just nod your head and you don't try to convince them of anything, like those 2nd, 3rd-year beekeepers. I was that one too, where I'm going to get on my soapbox and I'm going to tell you what I believe.
The top of the Dunning-Kruger.
Yeah. And I've learned that, there's some people that you're not going to convince, you're not going to change their mind. So I'm just going to nod my head. And if they come to me at some point ready to have that conversation, I'll have that conversation with them. But
there's that.
I'm not going to.
A question isn't really a question.
Yeah.
And you can usually tell.
Yeah.
One of my old bosses told me, and it always resonated, there's 3 types of questions, right? There's people that want to know genuinely. people that want you to know what they know, and people want to know how much you know.
Yeah. That's good advice, I think.
There's a reason a person has 2 ears and 1 mouth.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Well
Chuck.
said.
That's like an
Say
old
that a
Native
lot.
American proverb. I've heard
And the
that.
rate, the ratio should be more than 2 to 1, actually.
It should be. It should be.
Mhm.
So anyway, I think we can move on from that. That's quite a rabbit hole. But so
We're off the road.
But, I mean, to wrap that up, though, and to do a shameless compliment, these kind of live chats really embody that magic that Cayman has bottled, because it is different people on all different levels talking to each other like we're just another human being, right? And that's what these chats really replicate well, that Cayman's really figured out how to represent, that not all the live chats or YouTube information really present. So this like it was awesome. I get to meet all these other guys that I just see in the comments, you know, and Bob and Charlie and Lee and Brad, you guys do a tremendous job of facilitating these conversations to welcome everybody.
Okay.
And that's what Cayman's done. And that's what you guys are doing here. And that's why he's been so successful, because everybody's a beekeeper and everybody just wants to talk to each other.
And I don't think we need to forget that it was, you know, Phil's question, Phil the Bee Man's question is, he either gave us a lot to chew on and a great topic to talk about, or he just really trolled us. I don't know which, but
Yeah, I have my feeling. I know what it is. He's just sticking his finger in my side.
I respect both of those things, though.
Yeah. We would have respected more if you would have clicked the link and sent it in person, though.
Yeah.
Don't hide behind the keyboard, Phil.
See, Phil was the chairperson of the association back quite a while ago too. So he put on a lot of these association meetings, and he understands exactly what they're all about. And a lot of them, it is just like Brad and others are saying here. It's business. I mean, as an association, we're members of the association because this is our livelihoods, right? So we're coming to these associations to talk about the issues and the politics of it, and you know the function of the association itself, and representing the government, and all this kind of stuff is kind of brought into there. But I think at the same time, some of the associations forget that these are actually bee meetings, and beekeepers love to talk about bees. So let's get people in there to talk about bees, because that's what beekeepers want to do, because around the table they're talking about bees, right? So bring somebody in to talk about those bees. So that's something that Brad and I have been trying to do within our association. Is we have the issue, and we have, you know, the politics at hand and all this stuff, the business stuff there, but we still try to bring people in that talk about bees. So then it kind of feeds that appetite too. It's a real hard balance, because you guys are spelling it out just perfectly here. You know, you have different demographics, and it's hard to mesh those demographics together because we're different skill sets and different interests and just different personalities. And you talk to some of these big beekeepers, they have personalities that don't mesh with, you know, just the sideline or the hobby beekeeper, because they're on a different wavelength, and we shouldn't really expect those beekeepers to mesh together. So maybe it's not a bad thing to have subsets.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, the
like
whole
you look at American Bee Federation. Yeah. Why would they want to replicate something Cayman's doing? Because they have a totally different audience. They're going to lose their entire like there's beekeepers that fly across the country to go to ABF because they want to talk about the issues and, you know, the business at hand and stuff like that. They still inject the interest of beekeeping, but you look at what Cayman's doing. Like, he's not going to achieve. Like, I talk to Cayman a lot, and he wants to achieve, but he's not going to be able to achieve what he's doing here by bringing in all of ABF. It's just not going to work. So maybe it's good to have these little subsets, right? Like within our province, even we have like our association meeting, which is fine, but we have all these little regional associations too that just kind of stir up all this energy. And that's a good thing, I think, because it just allows engagement.
I remember when I started, and I think this kind of speaks to, you know, having subsets. I was started when I started, I was a small beekeeper, and well, I wasn't a small beekeeper. I just didn't have very many bees. I was never a small beekeeper.
Oh man, you could have left that out there for one of us to say, there, Brad. Take that from us.
But I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. I really didn't know anything. And I would start talking to beekeepers, and I'd talk to anybody I could talk to. And it was clear pretty quickly in that exercise that I needed to determine what the other beekeepers' goals and objectives were, because there was so many different ones, right?
Yeah.
And even though I didn't have very many bees, I aspired and I wanted to, be a commercial beekeeper, even though I didn't want to be a large commercial operation. So I decided that I had to talk to, and I would talk to anybody, but who would I really take the most from, and who would I seek out would be the Ians of the world, because Ian's operation is 10 times the size of mine. But I learned pretty fast that people like Ian, I share goals and objectives. Gonna be commercial, gonna make some money, gonna and you can share kind of approaches with different people, but to share those goals, for me in that context, to talk to a hobbyist that's been keeping bees for 15 years, that was fine, and I could learn a lot from that person. However, there was kind of a ceiling there. It was like, okay, I can learn a lot about mite controls, I can learn a lot about nutrition and all these, bee behavior and all this kind of stuff. But then it's sort of like, well, how do you manage 2,500 pounds of wax a year? Can't help you, right? So then you start talking 2,500 pounds, like 200 pounds, I should say, but 200 pounds of wax to a hobbyist, that's a lot of wax. So that was just a stupid example, but I think you get what I'm saying, that there's just certain components that you need that person with that different experience. How do I learn from a hobbyist who produces 200 pounds of honey a year? How do I learn how best to get into the retail market of selling honey? Well, I don't, right? Because that's not what they do. So it's just a different way to manage their business, manage their hobby, manage their bees and stuff like that. So it's not that there's anybody bigger or smarter or more important or worth listening to, worth talking to. It has nothing to do with that, in my opinion. It's link up with what you need to learn with different people.
Well, yeah, I mean, even in our chats, though, I mean, I think you and I have struck up pretty good friendship, and you bounce stuff off of me, and I've got a quite a bit smaller operation than you. I think mostly it's like to see what wall I'm going to run into. Hey, Bob, do this. Let's see if it works, or if you lose, call me. He's gambling with house money is what he's doing.
Do this and see if it kills them.
Hey, Bob, let's see if this works.
Yeah, well, mostly because we've become friends and we talk quite a bit. I've been fascinated learning the difference in just our climates, like your climate to my climate. Like,
Absolutely.
what do you get? Because you sit here in a climate because quite often colder than Mars, and you think nobody has a harder time managing bees over the winter season than I have, because I live in Winnipeg. And then I see people in Florida and South Carolina and stuff, and their bees are dying in the winter. I'm thinking, what's the matter with you people? Can't you do anything? It's
right.
warm there.
And then he realized I couldn't do anything.
And you get over that little ego thing, and you realize, you know what? You guys have some really distinct challenges that I don't have. I have some real deadline things that I need to accomplish in the fall: mite treatments, nutrition, feeding, stores. But by the time the end of October comes, the door closes on my management, and I go back to that in March or April. Whereas you need to keep turning dials and flipping switches all winter, and it is not the same every winter, right?
I fed 1-to-1 last
so
week,
well
Brad.
defined.
Yeah.
My
Right, so
season is so
and
well
right.
defined, and my honey flow is so well defined, right, and reliable kind of thing. It's nothing like what you guys are doing. I don't think I'd
But
keep these if I lived where you guys do.
Which
I'll
is
tell you what.
Energy
Hold
net
on a second.
goes away, right? It just transforms, right? So when you're going south to north and this is, across all things, right? It just, the challenges just might be different as you go up. We used to joke about it when, because I went to Afghanistan and things, and you'd be like, oh, thank God I didn't go to fucking Iraq, and then everybody in Iraq's like, well, thank God I didn't go to Afghanistan. I was like,
Yeah,
it's the same crap. It's just different.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let me
And
tell
that's
you
what
what.
I started to learn. Like, what are the challenges in those other
When
areas? Because there's got to be challenges.
when I watch you guys, Ian and Brad, I admire you and what you do, but when you guys get into the end of April and the 1st of May, and you're trying to make that decision to leave those bees in the shed or to take them out, I start to panic a little bit because I see what you guys are going through, and it's like high
Well,
drama.
here's the
It's
secret:
just
we are too.
it's gripping. That's what I can feel it. So I can feel it coming through the screen. I'm sitting here going, and I'm for 1 second, I'm like, get the damn things out of there. I'm screaming at the screen, at the computer screen. Are you crazy? It's too
It's like a
hot.
month. It's like a month
Down
in the
here,
spring. Ian and I are texting.
down here
Can we
it's
take the
like
bees out?
85
Well,
degrees
maybe
Fahrenheit. So
another
we're,
day. I don't know. It's getting pretty warm.
I'm playing armchair quarterback down here from Texas. That's the fun part right there.
I mean,
And the,
So Ian's doing the same thing to Brad that Brad's doing to Bob.
well,
Ian, take your time out of the shed. Let me know.
Here's what it's done
Your
for
eyes
me.
don't give a die.
It's kind of flipped my management upside down because now I'm trying to employ more things that they're doing in Canada down here. No, people, you're chuckling. I see that, but what you guys do when you bring them out of the barn, that's the climate I'm in right now. So here we are. Last week or 2 weeks ago, I was throwing pollen patties on my colonies because next month, while you guys are all cozy up with your Kraken by the fire, I'm going to be out here trying to make splits, right? So it's adjusting my timing on what I'm doing here and doing things that you guys do at a different time of the year. It's still beekeeping. It's still bees. It's that working backwards from when I need those bees to be ready that I wasn't doing before. And I don't see a lot of people on YouTube or in this area that are doing that, right? They pretty much wait to February. Okay, well, it's middle February. We're getting ready to do some splits. Maybe not put pollen sub on, and let's do this and let's go, right? And I'm trying to get those bees boosted up now so I don't have this little tiny cluster when, like last year, I'm sitting there, well, do I have enough resources to split these? That should not be an issue now. Hopefully, knock on wood, if everything works correctly.
That's what I was doing with Ian when I started beekeeping. He was writing his daily blog on his website, and I found this random guy, and I found this blog. I thought, it's kind of interesting, and it's regular, it's updated and everything. And I realized, and I started reading his spring beekeeping thing, and I realized, okay, well, this guy's in Manitoba, so that's good. It's a similar climate, but he's far enough away from me that he's about a week ahead of me in his management. So I thought, that's perfect. And he's writing down everything he does, right? So that I could just go every day. I go to that thing and read the blog. Oh, okay, hey, do this, and that gives me time to go to the store if I need to, right? Get my stuff, get my sugar, mix and get some patties, get some whatever I need, right? And then I read again. Oh, okay, this is what he's doing. So then I go to the store, or I get things ready and start doing that.
Yeah.
It kind of all went to crap in the fall though, because it flips around. I'm north of Minnesota.
Now you're lead dog.
So
you're lead dog.
yeah, it almost really turned into a
Plus
disaster
then-
that first year.
Yeah, you get done doing something. You're like, all right, I did what he did last week. Let's see what he did this week. And you get on there and he's like, everything went south because of what I did last week.
Well, that was a big mistake.
I'm gonna have to say goodnight, guys. I gotta say goodnight to you guys now because Bobby talks early in the morning.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. Appreciate that.
All right, nice to meet you.
It was an awesome conversation, guys. I really enjoyed it.
Come back anytime.
All right.
Yeah,
Thank you.
good night, Corey.
Enjoy tomorrow.
Yeah. So the lesson from that, what Brad just said, Brian, you need to start writing a weekly blog so I can copy you even on a more timely basis.
So you can stalk me harder.
That's right. Exactly. I had dinner last night with Brian and his friends Matt and Sarah, and Brian he stalks his friend, and I'm just like the second level of stalking. I learned that last night at dinner time.
That's not Matt and Sarah.
Look at there.
These are Matt and Sarah, is it?
Nope. This is a totally different Matt and Sarah.
Yeah, so I've talked about them before. They have a business called Homestead in the Hood. They're here in the Denver metro area as well. They do very similar stuff to us, and they're just great folks. Like Matt and I kind of were like co-mentors to each other. We just sit down once a month and we just talk and process and just do this kind of stuff and talk business just between the two of us. So he's a great buddy of mine. And they're not in the YouTube world. I convinced them after I went to Hive Life last year. I came back beaming with all these stories, so I got them to come this year. But they don't know any of you folks. They don't know the YouTube world. So I'm like introducing them to Charlie online on Thursday as we're going in. They don't know any of these people. They're big Instagram people. They have like 15,000 Instagram followers. So they know that whole world. And but they're great folks. Yeah.
Charlie's jonesing for popcorn over there.
Popcorn tonight.
Shaking from withdrawal.
Yeah, well, you know.
Hey, you better keep it down the hallway there, Charlie. I can hear you.
I got no bourbon. I got no bourbon either, Charlie.
I'm gonna be on the wall here because Lee's next door.
Yeah, he's already sleeping, so you're good.
So Charlie Scuttlebutt, is you bought a lifter? Is that a rumor or what?
Well, I talked to Mike Barry about it, so I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a B3.
Yeah, this one he's got.
No,
That's
he's got a B2 with I think there's screws in there that raises it, and he says he wished it had even got the hydraulic model.
Okay.
And all that.
Okay. Well, good. I was glad you got to talk to him.
Did you get to talk to Nathan? Doesn't he have the 3 model?
I have not been able. He's always been busy.
Yeah.
Over there, you mean Duck River?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to try tomorrow about it.
Okay.
He had some electrical problems with his, but what I was talking to Mike about was I was watching his videos several times about when he was lifting the hives and how he was kind of pushing down on it. And I said, it looked like to me that you had to kind of force it to do certain things. And he said, well, that was because the boxes were stuck together. And he said, once, it breaks the seal, everything, it'll lift up and balance itself. And I said, well, I want to be able to get my honey supers up off of there and then get down into the brood chamber, do what I need to do. He said, that's pretty much what it's designed for, like putting in skateboards and stuff like that. I said, well, and I'm like under supering or something like that with it. And so I think it's talking with him and everything. I think it's going to work well for me. I'm going to take a chance and get it. And all.
So he's moved up to a 2027 purchase instead of 2028.
Yeah, well, it'll be 2024. I'm ready to do it. I just got to talk to Boris.
That's a decision. That's the first time we've heard Charlie say that. I think it's going to happen.
Well, I mean, there's, as Brian, we were at dinner tonight together along with Phil and several other folks. And I mean, there's been a lot of firsts here today. I mean, of course, Brian knows about it, and Phil. I signed my first autograph today.
Oh, good for you.
I did too, Charlie. Was it Joey's hat?
Who?
Was it Joey's hat? Joey Rawls?
Okay.
Yeah. That was mine too.
I had a guy that I kind of looked at, that he was more of the commercial guy, and here comes Seth Hill over there signing my cup. I said, "You what?" He said, "I want you to sign my cup." I said,
"Oh, wow, that's a big time. Good deal."
Yeah. So, and then here comes Ashby Miller, Ashby Farms, and he's walking up through the hallway there Thursday, and he comes right up to me, and he knows more about me than I know about him. I mean, I watch him a little bit, but he's talking to me, and I said, we were talking about Apis Biologic, and I said, he said, I got to call you up, and here's my card and all this stuff, and I'm like, really? And then I had a lot of my subscribers, a ton of them this year, calling me out and coming up to me, and it's really nice. It's a nice community, nice feel of that from the channel and stuff like that. So
so Charlie,
right on.
Charlie, before you raise the prices of your honey because of the hive lifter, I want to trade you a couple bottles of Blue Curl for that, for your honey. So save me some. But Blue Curl won't be ready. Blue Curl won't be ready till the end of summer.
Okay.
Fall. So save me an early batch, a couple jars.
I'll save you some of what I've got this year, what I sent you.
Oh, you still have some of that?
Oh yeah, I got hundreds of pounds.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I'm my main thing is trying to overlap one season to the next. I never run out. That's one good thing you always do. Never run out. That way you lose customers if you run out. So, but now, I mean, I sold just a hair over 1,100 pounds for the last year for 23. So that's a lot for me. But, which then I'm going to revamp my, increase more honey hives and cut back on my nukes and stuff like that as far as selling to other folks. But I'll still sell some nukes and stuff like that. So, but that's what's, it's hot. The Nobby's been fun and lightning and everything. Hit a couple classes today and all that.
How did your trap line go, Brad?
Unsuccessful. Actually, I'm just looking at it right here, and it's not even a peanut touched there.
You're in the clear.
What I was listening on my phone. What happened to James? Somebody broke in. Is what I heard.
You had your chance to get a hive lifter
stuff.
Huh?
And we thought it was you, but they didn't take the hive lifter. So,
okay. What did they steal? They didn't steal that new.
Well, he go into detail, but a bunch of his bees flew out of the building over the hour and ended up in the snow and dying. So it was really bad. They did a lot of damage to the door and everything.
Right.
Charlie, he said he knew it wasn't you because they didn't take his hive lifter. So you're off the hook.
I mean, that's been the second time somebody's tried to, steal stuff from him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's after him.
That's why I told him, I said, you got to get a nice trained Belgian Malinois and fence it in there around the shop, and that'll take care of that problem.
Yeah.
Or a shepherd.
Or a tripod.
Mm-hmm. Or
my son has a king. That'll take care of him.
So Charlie, are you going to the presentation tomorrow on single brood chamber management?
Yep, I am.
Okay, good. I want you to sit on the other side of the room for me and behave yourself, okay?
Are you staying at the Crown?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I'm staying at the Hampton or the Hilton Inn Garden.
So was that you that ran over and pulled the fire extinguisher? Or the
Nah,
fire alarm?
no. Mm-mm. I don't know what the deal is going on over there. You have to ask Brian. He's staying over there.
Hasn't happened since I've been here. I mean, half the building's under construction, so it's
It sounds like
amazing.
everything's horrible there.
It's not horrible, but it's not great. Like my friends Matt and Sarah, they got here the night before. They got sent out at 1 a.m. with the fire alarm, and they even texted me and said, if you can, change your hotel. And I'm glad I didn't, just because all the people that are staying here, I've had a lot of great hallway and elevator conversations just because all the VIPs are here. You know, it's a little bit of a hassle, but I mean, that's kind of what you get when you travel, no matter where you go. So it's livable, it's manageable. It's only 2 days, so it's not that bad. It's not like my room smells like ass or anything, you know. At least
That's never good.
yeah, if it does smell like ass, at least it's mine.
That's why I always pack a book of matches.
There you go.
Just saying.
So yeah, it's been okay. It hasn't been bad.
So have you ventured into the construction areas? Is it really under construction, or are you going to go in there and like all the VIPs, you know, they're like, oh, it's under construction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy.
Yeah.
Well, everybody, 2 hours and 20 minutes. We're into this. Anybody have any final words? And you know, keep it brief. And I think we should probably let everybody go and get some sleep and wrap this up. So, any final words?
Well, first it was super fun. Love to get to shake everyone's hand, and we would have loved to gotten to shake the hands of the folks that didn't get to go as well. So there's
Absolutely.
always next year, but that's been the best part. So we'd still love to shake other people's hands, get to have those great conversations. That's
And we're
my
talking.
final dream.
We're talking about all you guys, and it's not all bad. So.
Well,
Okay.
You know, I'm having a great time. It's like, you know, meeting Phil there for the first time in person, and with Brian there, and along with like Phil and everybody, and that was the biggest thing is we meet a lot of folks on my live stream on Friday night there, along with a lot of viewers and Brad and Ian. I actually had quite a few Canadian subscribers come up to me, and all they're either from Quebec or they're from what's the next province over? I don't
Ontario.
know. Huh?
West
Ontario.
Ontario, yeah, it was Ontario, Quebec, and different ones like that, and it's quite a bit of Canadians, here, checking it all out.
Oh, great.
And, but it was fun. It's a lot of fun. People coming up to you all the time. So,
Well, I would invite everybody watching to subscribe to the channels that you're viewing on. This is being streamed to a few different channels tonight. And hit the like button. That always helps us, know who's watching, not who's watching, but how many. There's some numbers, and helps with the engagement and algorithms and whatnot. So, subscribe if you can, if you're not already, and we appreciate that very much. Do we have an upcoming live coming up? Anyone? Bueller?
Tim and Hannah on
Bueller?
Sunday.
Tim and Hannah, I believe, will be on Sunday. Gunline Bees, so don't miss that. And
I think
there might be something happen tomorrow. I don't know.
Ricky Rourke, I think, is having something next Thursday on his
All right.
channel. Horizontal Bees.
Well,
I think it's going to be an
I think
open
I'm
discussion like this.
Which he did good at the conference.
Close
He
it up
sold
for
out.
now. Yeah, I saw that. He was really selling. That's crazy. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for coming in, everybody, and all you people who are at the festivities. Wish we were there.
Yeah.
And thanks for coming in to share the joy and some of the experiences you've had today. I hope you have a really great day tomorrow there too.
Great.
Right on.
All right.
And those of us who aren't there, thanks for dropping in to, share in the tears that we're not actually taking part. And hopefully,
Crocodile tears.
hopefully you get some work done, Ian, and that you're not just on your phone the whole time pretending you're at the.
Might as well been there. The problem is, if I would have gone, I would have had to speak in front of those crowds. So it's probably a good thing this year.
Should have told him you couldn't have come, and then just showed up as Ian and not Ian the speaker. Then you could have enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Hey, Ian, I'm going to see Natalie tomorrow morning. It's going to be her first time to speak in front of the big crowd.
Good deal.
Oh,
what room is she in?
B one of the B105, whatever that is, the B room, and even when I say the smaller rooms are massive.
Yeah, she.
Now that one big.
Yeah.
Well, good on her for doing that. I know she's pretty nervous in front of people, so good on her for that. So I will close it down at that. Thank you all for coming. Appreciate that, and have a great weekend. And as always, like I always say, what do I always say? Take care and have fun, right?
What's the other thing you always say?
Bob's your uncle.
Well, Bob's your uncle. Good night, everybody.
Good night.